Hello and welcome to Mature Living Show. My name is Yvette Lugo. I'm the director for the Area Agency on Aging, and I'll be filling in for Ms. Mary Yanez today. My guest here is David Rodriguez, who is with the Community College's Information Technology Department. And so he's here to talk to us about the importance of care and concern when using the internet. And so that's something that honestly, David, that's, seniors, older adults face every day, especially when we're wanting and encouraging them to become more tech savvy. So talk to us about why should we use care when using the internet?
So the thing with the internet is it's connected our world in ways that wasn't possible even 20 years ago, 50 years ago. And so everything has become digital, everything is online now, you can pay your bills online, shop online, but that disconnectedness from people also comes with the risks of, do you really know you're on the right website? So for example, several years ago, they created a fake Amazon site, but instead of Amazon with an N, it was Amazon with an M, as in Mary. So people were hitting that site and it looked legitimate enough that they were trying to sign in and buy things and sell things. So making sure that you're on the official website is very important. Sometimes just searching for a company online, just doing a Google search or a Bing search isn't enough. Because any company can pay to be the top ad result. In fact, not that long ago here at Community College, if you did a Google search, a Bing search for El Paso Community College, a different school came up as the number one result. So that whole ad, everyone wants to make money somehow. So that's some of the ways they do it is they pay to be the top ad result. So always, be aware of where you're trying to be and knowing, oh, this is the website it should look like, or it should say in the address.
Right. And so if someone gets emails, because I've heard of stories, situations where they're afraid. I've received an email, they're threatening to shut off my utilities or cut off my bank account. And there's always some link there. How do we know that it's positive, or is this something that we should be looking out for, especially as an older adult? Again, I'm more cautious. Perhaps I'm a little nervous about using the internet.
And that term is usually called phishing, and it's spelled P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G. Sorry, I had to look down at my notes.
Phishing.
It's phishing, and it was originally a term used for phone solicitation, but now it kind of encompasses everything. Most people should be aware that no government entity, no utility company, no company really in general will ever contact you by email and threaten you. You'll get a letter in the mail because the penalty for mail fraud is very high. There's no penalty for email fraud yet. I know there's been talks about that, but tracking it is very difficult. So really, your best bet is to look at everything with a critical eye. And if it's threatening you, it's probably, especially by email, it's not legitimate. Same thing with phone calls. We were talking before we started, my grandfather got a phone call from someone claiming to be one of my cousins and said that they were holding him over in Juarez, and they were going to let him go if he paid a fine of some kind, and his wife was waiting on this side of the bridge. Please bring me this amount of money, I'll pay you back. And I happened to catch my grandfather as he was leaving. I was like, what's going on? And he explained to me, I'm like, wait a minute, which cousin?
Right.
And the more questions I asked, he became unsure, like, you know what, I really don't know. So we waited. And sure enough, that person called back and said, hey, where are you? And so then I started asking questions. And so that's kind of the important thing, is to look at things with a critical eye. Like, who are you? Why are you asking me these questions? If they call you and say, oh, well, we owe you owe us money. I got that one recently. You were involved in a car accident 5 years ago and you owe money on the case settlement. I'm like, I've never been in a car accident. Send me what you have. Send me the proof so I can talk to my lawyer about this. Oh, well, okay, give me your address. Wait a minute. You called me. You called me. Send me the letter to the address you have on file. And I never heard from them again because it wasn't legitimate. And they don't want to take the chance of being prosecuted for mail fraud. So, and the thing with shopping online and surfing online is you're only as safe as the company you're trusting with your information. So
don't they usually have like something like says a secure purchase or something that would alert you, at least in that sense?
yes, and this just happened earlier this week, a company called Newegg. They made over $2 billion in revenue in 2016. This is not a mom and pop place. Their website was compromised. They added some extra code. The hackers added some extra code to their website that was harvesting credit card and other information. And it went on for a month.
And
This
no
is
one
a
realized.
technology company.
Wow.
They sell technology, and they didn't even know they were compromised for a month. So you're only as safe as the people you trust with your credit card information. Target was compromised at the little card swipe thing.
Right.
And they were compromised because an air conditioning contractor came on site with a laptop he didn't even know was infected. But he plugged it into their network, and that compromised the entire Target network.
Oh, wow.
Sony, they make movies. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They were compromised because they failed to follow the best practices when it comes to terminating employees.
Right.
So you're only as safe as the people you trust with your information. And so a lot of times what I recommend if you're going to shop online is use a credit card issued from your financial institution, because the credit card comes from their money. They have a vested interest in protecting that. When it's a debit card, they may not be as quick to act on your behalf as it is with a credit card.
Okay.
And the resources they allocate to that are much higher.
So we don't obviously want we don't want older adults or anybody for that matter to be afraid, because this is an advancement in technology, ways
Right.
of making things easier perhaps for some homebound persons who aren't able to get out and shop. But in the end, really it's just about being careful and being cautious.
Being careful, being cautious. Look at things with a critical eye. Look at the website that you're visiting. Is there a weird misspelling in the address bar? Then maybe you should take a moment to stop and think before you start inputting things like usernames and passwords.
That's good. I mean, such good information. And again, as we're moving towards that, more of government organizations are asking people to create online accounts and do things, it's more cost efficient. But I think with that information and guidance, hopefully, like you said, a critical eye, that's important. So
Yes.
thank you, David. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the information today.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
And I'm sure you'll come up with some more
I have
tips for
pages
us.
of notes that we
Right.
didn't get to go through, but it's one of those things. Is just look at things with a critical eye, stop and don't panic. If you get something threatening you, don't panic. If it claims to come from the FBI, it's a lie. You find out you're being investigated by the FBI when they show up to your house. That's
Right.
how you find out. They're not
True.
going to email you or
So it's best
get
to
a pop-up.
question.
Always
question and be
Always
critical.
question, yes.
Very good. Thank you so much, David,
Thank
for your
you.
information. I appreciate you being
And I
here
hope
with
I
us.
didn't scare people too much.
No,
It's
again,
be critical.
it's being critical.
Yeah.
So that's good points that sometimes we forget.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more guests. Welcome back. Joining me now, I have Isaac Valencia and his guide dog, Fonda, from one of our local Lions clubs here in El Paso. And so, hi, Isaac.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and just a little bit about your story and how you became involved with the Lions Club?
Yeah, I'm actually working on my master's currently at UTEP in rehabilitation and counseling. I've been blind since birth. I was actually 3 months premature. And to give you the short version, I weighed in at 2 pounds, no ounces. My lungs were not fully developed. So when I came out, they put me on a respirator. And I got too much oxygen and it completely shot my eye veins.
Wow.
So I've never been able to see. Luckily, I want to say I had a really, I guess, the best parents. My mom and my stepdad. They never sheltered me. I got to try anything. I pretty much, if I wanted to try it, I got to do it. I was a kid like everybody else. I got in trouble. I almost didn't graduate from high school because I failed English.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So again, I led a very normal life. I grew up riding horses, which is one of my favorite pastimes. I don't get too much anymore because I'm so busy, just with life in general.
And so you're a member of the Lions Club, and I see I can see your patch that says how involved you are.
Yeah. And if you look down, Fonda has her own vest. Fonda
That's
is
true.
an honorary member also.
Okay, very good. Well, tell us about Fonda. How long have you all been with each other? She's your guide dog.
Correct.
Right?
Fonda and I have been together, actually it'll be 2 years on the 26th of this month. Fonda is actually my second guide dog.
Okay.
My first guide dog, Izzy, is at home enjoying retirement. She's probably asleep on my bed as we speak. So Fonda and I, like I said, we've been together a couple years. I worked my first dog for about 8 years. And if everything goes the way it should, if Fonda stays healthy, I will work her for another 6 years.
Okay. She's such I mean, I guess obviously training involved with and helping guide dogs perform their duties. What is it that she does, or how does she help you?
Okay, so basically Fonda's sole purpose besides sleeping, and her other favorite pastime is hoping that food will fall from someplace. Is her purpose is to guide.
Okay.
So we can be walking somewhere, she's looking out for both of us. So she is taught to guide me around obstacles. Let me know when there's stairs coming up, either going up or down. I can give her certain commands like to the steps, to the elevator, to the door, and she's able to pinpoint those whenever we're crossing a street, whether it be an intersection or not. She's taught to look out for cars.
Very good.
That's basically all that she does.
Okay. Well, and I'm sure that she's been a resource for you. So how about your involvement with the Lions Club? How did that come about? Or I understand you've been a member for quite a long time.
Yeah, I've been a member since 2013. That's actually kind of an interesting story. I was at UTEP one day with my first dog, Izzy, and I can't remember now where I was going, and a gentleman walked up to me. He's like, "Oh, nice dog." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." I'm like, "Well, I kind of got to go."
Yeah.
I was trying to get somewhere. And he and I got to talking. He said, "I'm a member of the University Lions Club." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's interesting," because I had attended, back when I was about 7, Texas Lions Camp. And Texas Lions Camp is held in Kerrville, Texas. And what it is basically they take the whole summer and they branch off in, well, back when I was going, it was 2 weeks, but I think now they've done it to a week, where like 1 week or one session, kids with autism would go. Next session, kids who were blind and visually impaired would go. Next session, whatever disability was, that week would go. And you basically got to do what, have a lot of fun. You got to horseback ride. We did archery. We did camping out. Just stuff that normally kids with disabilities would not get to do in their hometown. They even have a diabetic camp, which allows kids with diabetics or who are diabetic to be around other kids with diabetic, because some of them, they may be the only one in their town,
Right.
So back this gentleman, and I said, I went to Lions Camp, and he said, "Well, you should come join us at one of our meetings." So I said, "Okay." So we exchanged numbers, and we just kind of lost contact, and I just filed it away, and okay, whatever. So a few years later, I'm walking somewhere on campus. I can't remember where I was going exactly. And a friend of mine saw Izzy, and she's like, "That dog looks familiar." And she looked close. She's like, "Oh, it's Isaac." So, and she and I had a class together. So we got to talking, and I'm like, "Hey, so what's going on with you?" She's like, "Hey, I'm going to a concert tomorrow night at Freedom Crossing. You want to go?" She's like, "Me and a couple friends are going." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go." She's like, "They're from the Lions Club." Like, okay, so we went, and then they kind of told me about the club, and I was sold on the idea. I went to my first meeting, and I said, let me fill out the application. And that was back in 2013, and I haven't looked back since.
Very good. And I understand you're president of your particular university
Correct.
affiliation
Yeah,
club.
technically, I'm technically called Lion Boss, but
Okay,
yeah.
that's that is a technicality.
Yeah.
The Lion Boss. Okay, definitely something to consider when if you're not a member. And so
Right.
you all are seeking members. Are you always looking for?
We're
things?
always looking for members, yes.
Events. Any events that are coming up?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
Nothing. I guess our personal mission is we've like to raise money and give it away wherever it's needed.
Right.
One of our biggest projects every year that we do is for Thanksgiving, donate 5 food baskets to the Center for Family Violence.
Okay.
We don't get to meet the families due to confidentiality.
Right.
But they contact us, say, okay, family number 1 has a mom and, 2 kids, ages 15 and 12. So we'll donate a turkey, and with all the fixings to make a turkey dinner with.
Right.
And then we'll throw in like books or just something. I mean, depending on what ages we get, toys for the kids. And
So Isaac, I think obviously you would have better knowledge of what assistive technology or devices might be available for someone with a visual impairment, with a disability who is blind. Can you talk a little bit about that? What are some available resources?
Yeah, sure. I mean, technology has really evolved. I mean, back when I was growing up, we of course didn't have cell phones, and if we did, they were like this massive brick that was quite heavy to lug around.
Right.
But now, for example, I have the iPhone. I just got the iPhone 8.
Okay.
And I'm not one of these who's going to spend tons of money on the iPhone, whatever there is now. But the nice thing about the iPhone is that I can actually send and receive texts. I can check my email. I can do Facebook. I can pretty much do anything that there is out there.
So it's adaptable for someone who has a visual disability?
Yes.
Okay.
And it comes right out of the box, and it's already adaptable. You just have to click a few icons, and you're good to go.
Okay.
I've also, I mentioned that I'm working on my master's. I have a regular Dell computer, just a regular laptop PC, what you would have, and I've got assistive technology on there that reads the screen to me.
Okay.
So I can do email again from the laptop, or I can pretty much do anything that you can do. At home, I've got scanning software, so I can scan a textbook if I need to, or like if I get mail, I can just lay it on the scanner, scan through it real quick, and say, I want to keep this. This is a bill that I need to get rid of. So like I said, yeah, technology is just coming along such a long way.
Wow. All right. Thank you for sharing, Isaac. Once again, your story is compelling, and I appreciate you sharing that and sharing that with our viewers. I'm sure others will find similarities with you and perhaps maybe even inspiration. So
Sure, my pleasure.
thank you, Isaac. And Fonda, for making your television debut. Thank you for being with us today. We'll be back with more guests. Welcome back. Joining me now are representatives from the college's Animal Rescue, Daphnee Meneffe and Anthony Hernandez. Thank you both for joining us. I appreciate you all being here. So tell us, what is the Animal Rescue of Community College? What is that?
Well, Animal Rescue of Community College, or ARC, it's a program. It's a program. I'm sorry, he got excited. Semi-excited.
This is Ralph,
Ralph.
right?
Yes, Ralph. Ralph, what's wrong? Okay. Okay. Well, Animal Rescue, as I said, it's an organization where college students go out in the community or even on campus, and we help rescue dogs, such like Ralph, or we will hold various fundraisers to raise funds for the animal shelters.
Okay.
We are also trying to help and support shelters who are becoming non-kill shelters, which is an amazing thing because El Paso has now become more and more of a non-kill city, which
Okay.
is great. They're doing spraying and neutering. There's a lot more adoptions instead of just buying the dogs, like off of a puppy mill. So we try and help with that.
So that's good to know that there's obviously student organizations that are supportive of rescuing animals. That's good. I understand you all are having a fall festival.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
something that's coming up? You want to talk about that a little, Anthony?
Well, it's something that happens like in fall, and it takes place where we kind of gather everybody in the middle of our college, and that way, like, right, Daphne? It's like a biggest thing ever of the
Yes,
fall.
it's a fall festival. There's a lot of great interactions. There's games for the little ones. It takes place on Halloween, October 31st, and it's at the Valle Verde campus. We will have a lot of different booths. There's a lot of vendors. We're going to have a booth, and we're going to be selling a couple of food items, and the funds that we will raise will go to the animal services. It will
Okay.
go to animal services, and with that, we hope to accomplish, to give more dogs blankets, food, puppy pads.
So you all voted on this as a project to do
Yes.
as an organization.
Yeah.
That's good. So supporting you all, coming by your booth, obviously would then help further your cause and
Yes,
what you're
and
trying
then,
to accomplish.
We want to get the word out because Animal Services has been really great working with us. We work with them every fall and spring semester.
Okay.
They give good prices for pet adoptions, and they will become the pets have spayed, neutered, and they are microchipped, and they have
good.
all their vaccines and everything.
So I mean, people can assume, even though Ralph's excited to be on TV,
He
but
is.
oftentimes pets offer stress relief.
They do.
Talk a little bit about that and how you all promote that.
Actually, towards the end of November, we're looking at doing a stress relief day at Valle Verde.
Okay.
And we're going to be having Animal Services come by the campus, and they'll have a couple of dogs, which are actually going to be up for adoption. So
Okay.
those dogs, the students can walk them around, they could play with them, because as we all know, finals are very hectic. Oh,
Right.
there he goes. They're very hectic, so having a dog to hug and cuddle and to pet and to talk to at times, it could be very helpful.
And plus, when you play, when you play or pet a dog, I believe the touch relieves has some kind of feeling of happiness. And to me, every time I would play with a dog and I would actually play fetch with my dog Chico, it reminds me, it just brings me happiness and joy to believe that we're friends, and
Right.
he helps me and I help him. And well, with stress is one of the big things, so I appreciate my dog for that.
For helping you with that.
With
And like
stress.
Daphne said, especially during finals, I can imagine. Which, to me, that's why pets are so important to people and families. I mean, they really become a part of our family oftentimes. So it's really, it's just valuable in what pets can bring people, in that
And maybe-
companionship. So in that sense, I think you're also promoting Adoption Day, as I understand. What is that?
So in early October or November, we're aiming for November, we are going to be having an adoption day, and like I said, Animal Service will be going to the campus. They'll bring a couple of dogs, and the students as well as ARC members can walk around the campus with the dogs. They get to walk the dogs. The dogs love being interacted. They love being played with and hugged and touched. And so during that process, we have a couple of students who fall madly in love with the dogs.
Right.
And our Animal Services has the papers and all the things that will be needed for adopting the dog. And I'm not quite sure what their price is now,
Right.
but they would give the adoption, the papers, the microchip, the paper stating the shots and the records and everything for $20.
That's really good.
And then
And as you shared earlier, obviously El Paso has now thankfully become a no-kill city,
yes,
right? And so
which
adoption
is-
should be
It's an amazing thing. Oh,
right, especially if that's, for some people, I understand that was kind of Ralph's story, right?
it was. He was actually rescued at 3 weeks.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, he was rescued at 3 weeks. He was at a puppy mill, but they actually gave him away. No, they didn't want any puppies. They didn't want him.
Right.
So he got rescued, and now he's going to be 6 months,
Okay.
and he knows how to sit.
And I had a similar story about saving a dog one time.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of funny because it was like a story of me and my friend. We were kind of just walking down the street and we saw this blue heeler. And then, so we're like, oh, well, what is this dog doing here? And does it have any collars or anything like that? And it figured to be like, I guess he was homeless and things like that. So then, I took it upon myself. I was like, I'll take him home and I'll try to see if I can foster him. So that way it could, or he could be safe and sound.
That's good. So there's so many opportunities for people to become pet owners and join their families to that. So thank you all for promoting that. Obviously, student organization, you reach so many students who just have a love for animals oftentimes too, as I would imagine. But
Yes.
thank you all for helping promote that, and I'm glad that EPCC has an organization like this to help continue what you all find is something that's moving to you guys with regard to animals. So thank you for joining us today, Daphne and Anthony. I appreciate you sharing your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining us. We hope that you join us next week on Mature Living.